Welcome, Cancer, to your vernal equinox 3-month forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Each year, when the sun returns to the sign of Aries, it's the start of the astrological year. Really exciting. But also, it ushers in cardinal quadrant 1, because Western tropical astrology is predicated on the seasons, and the next 3 months is the start of that year, but also a time of initiation. But what will it mean for you personally, Cancer? I'm going to share with you what you can look forwards to over those 13 weeks in terms of relationships, finance, work, and energy. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. So on the screen, Cancer, is your event chart. And there's the sun right at the top of your chart. So in any natal chart or event chart, the planet, or in this case, the luminary, which is most northerly, is going to be the most powerful. So for you, because the sign of Aries, where the sun is exalted, is very passionate, it has that fire element, can be a time for you to take your connection to the wider world that much more seriously. But for most of us, it is a time of new beginnings. But for you, it can be a time of culmination. So over the next 3 months, you could get some significant rewards for things that you started when the sun moved into your zodiac sign last June. But when the sun arrives this year, he's met by the dreamy, drifting energies of Neptune for the first time for 150 years. So this is incredibly rare, but also hugely symbolic. Because if you're a creative, an artist, you work in performance, anything to do with film, the digital world, photography, your ability to project your image in a very imaginative way is definitely going to be animated over these next 3 months. But we also have the rather cool, stern Saturn laying in wait too. So if you're doing something at the moment professionally, which is actually not feeding your soul, being a water sign, I think what Neptune can do is actually see you become a bit disenchanted, and you may actually start to lose energy and thrust. So you need to be working in an environment or connecting to the world if you're doing some kind of local activities or volunteering in a way that is very expressive. And if you're not, there could be a rethink. So it's a bit binary. It could be a time of raising your profile or deciding that a change is needed. Now, recently, we've had such a lot of energy in your sister water sign of Pisces, and that's giving you a lot of appetite to change your situation up, to be more spontaneous, to add more variety. And Mercury, the planet of communication, has been in a retrograde for 3 weeks, but that does end later today on the equinox. And that gives you an opportunity, if you have been waiting for some information or even to clarify your thinking, maybe it's been around a contractual matter, the ninth house, to do with a position professionally, things can clarify despite Neptune's presence. But I think energetically, things need to really feed into your senses in a way that feels comfortable. What's going to help you, however, over these next 3 months, Cancer, is that Mars, the planet of thrust, the ruler of the sign of Aries, is in a very strong link with Jupiter, now direct in your sign. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of course. It can be the planet of fortune. It is exalted in Cancer, and it is no longer rewinding, but that link with Mars is very energetic. So if there's something around your connection to the world that you're not enjoying, I don't think you're going to be in the frame of mind just to soak it up that Neptune might suggest. Yes, you may be feeling that you really need to express yourself with a great deal of flair, but I think Mars and Jupiter can give you a lot of thrust to make a change if you're not enjoying what you're doing. And Saturn is going to be in this part of your scope for the next 2 and slightly more years through to the end of April 2028. So if you're not feeling it, this can be a time of change. But equally, it can be a time of taking on more responsibilities, raising your profile, and achieving more recognition. And as ever with Saturn, the harder we work, the more we get the rewards. So application and perspiration are going to be important, but that might not be at the heart of your consideration at the moment. Put it like this, Cancer. If you're a natural bohemian trying to exist in a corporate structure, you might not be feeling very comfortable. But in terms of relationships with Venus, the relator, and the moon, your ruler, in a very tight conjunction in your 10th house, your relationships with people in positions of influence can actually be very good if they are atmospherically aware of you. And that can be something that builds up a lot of goodwill. But if they're not, it can be the converse. In a purely romantic viewpoint, this combination suggests if you're seeing someone and enjoying it, and you are dreaming of a bigger and better future, it may be the time that you start to think about moving in, getting on the housing ladder, renting somewhere, or even adding to your family. But equally, the combination of all these planets could see you be thinking about property and not necessarily about status as far as work is concerned. And I think broadly there is a lot to like there, not least that the sun still is in a very positive angle to Uranus, which is really pushing you to set your future plan in a way which allows you to be truly authentically yourself. So one of the things that might call up to some cancers through this particular 13-week period is self-employment. There's also a very powerful link between Pluto and Saturn. And I think when it comes to things like contracts, making the most of your resources, squeezing more from them, Pluto's very much, of course, about potentially things breaking down, but then being rebuilt, regeneration. But that's terrific, that link with Saturn, if you are doing anything around a property improvement or actually moving all together. But I think at the heart of this chart, it's really having the confidence to strut your stuff and let people know just how worthy you are of greater praise, greater recognition. So if you are someone who has a tendency to keep your skills a little bit hidden, maybe you run on the cautious or even reserved side, do know that if you push outwards, it can help you to be seen. But it also means that you may encounter some people who don't quite get the quality you have, and that could be Saturn in that 10th house. So to recap across all those areas, Cancer, as far as work, I think this can be a tremendous time if you're doing something you're enjoying, and it does enable you to be very creative, but also you feel connected to it at that soul level. If you're not enjoying what you're doing professionally, I think there could be a period of disorientation or even feeling rather drained. And part of you may at the moment be much more orientated towards breaking out, going away, having a vacation, just creating some space from all those responsibilities. If you're in a relationship which is going well, it could be a time when it gets more formal. You're taking that next step. You may even plan the big day if you're more traditional. Then again, if you meet someone over the next 3 months, it could be through work and it could be someone who comes from a different age group to you. Energetically, Saturn we know can be limiting. If there is going to be an issue for you, I think it's if you're around people who really are a bit cut off from their emotions. I don't think that's going to be very healthy for you. But that link between Mars and Jupiter does actually give you the potential to be really quite energized, which is truly exciting. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've yet to watch your Pisces new moon deep dive forecast, please see that on screen. Jupiter Direct, please see that. You can get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning for your reflective cosmic pit stop. Please see below to sign up for that. If you'd like to work with me direct, please see below for my testimonials. If you'd like to order some personal horoscopes, great value, totally unique to each person they're produced for. And also the life roadmap helps us to understand the patterns that are played out in our lives so far, but also with the forecast, how to time our moves future forwards. But In my special offer, if you apply Astro26 at the checkout, you can get 50% off the Natal, and Draco26 at the checkout, 50% off the Soul Karmic version, Draconic. It's been a pleasure being with you, Cancer. Take care and goodbye.